I want to know if I can show you most of the tools on CorelDRAW in 10 minutes. The last time we dealt with the shape tool, which I told you is one of the most important tools you can have on CorelDRAW, right? If you remember all these things as we did them. So apart from shape tool, we have other tools, and up here we have all the other buttons too, other functions. So there are many of them, and there is nobody that can give you all of them, right? But the basic ones you are going to be using, and then as you grow in the work, you will be knowing more. So after your shape tool, if you understand now, you have different things under shape tool, but most of these ones we hardly use them. I don't think I've ever used any of these, and this is why it's important I think I've used 12, which you can use to so something like this. Now I don't know what you can use it for, so sometimes it's not in the many of them, but basically I also use cropping. So you can use cropping to take out a segment of this now, right? So you now have that. So knife, they also use knife to cut out, which I don't know how many times I've ever used it. Virtual segment delete, I also use eraser. So you use eraser to clean edges, right? So most of the time I leave mine on crop because that's the one I use more. So this is zoom. So if you just click on Z in your button, it will give you the zoom tool. So with zoom tool, you can either, if you don't have a mouse, with a mouse you can always use scroll bar to move up and down, but with the zoom tool you can press, and then if you want the minus, you right click to zoom out. Zoom in is left click, which is the main button, then right click is zoom out. So you can use it to draw closer to a part of what you're doing, right? So then of course the pan is like using your hand to hold something and move it around. So basically we don't mostly use all of that, so I will leave it on my zoom. So there's this other tool that we use, freehand tool, then 2-point line, bezier tool, pen tool, polyline, 3-point curve. But mostly what I use is the freehand. If I want to crop something, like now, let me give you an example. This design I made here, I just imported a design. What I did here was I used these people, their picture, I cropped it, and I used the freehand tool to do like this. Sorry, it's not so neat now, but we can always fix it later. So when you have it like this, you can always adjust it. Remember when we use shape tool, so the shape tool you can use it for, you can create a new node, move it, and all of that. So this is basically what I did. So after doing it, you can always make it neater, but I want to just move fast. I hope you're watching what I'm doing. So after doing this, I just thickened it, maybe 4. It became thick. I think 4 is too much, so let's say 3, and I colored it white. So that's basically what I did. So it gave us like a stroke. In Photoshop it's called stroke, but in CorelDRAW there are different ways to do it, but normally I can use this. Another way to do it is when you import a file that is already cropped. For example, I import this image, for example, and I want to give that stroke, right? Watch this, is very, very important. You right click, you go to outline trace, you go to high quality image, and it shows you this. After a while, it opens up here for you to, okay, there's a place it's showing you the progress bar that we normally have somewhere. One. Okay, so countdown. So we have it now. So it's almost like a cartoon version, vector image of this picture. So if I lift this one now, you'll see that they are now two, but this is the real picture. This is the vector image. So you can use this. It looks like a cartoon thing now. So what I do is that you can now color this. Normally you can't color a bitmap image, but you turn it into vector, you can now color it. So I color it white, and then I do the outline white. So the outline, I can do it something like 4, right? Okay, let's say 4. It becomes thicker, and I'll put it behind, push it down, and it has that, right? It has those edges here, but I can hide this so that I can work on the edges. So you can use the eraser tool maybe to smoothen the edges, right? But there are many of them that you will not have that. Sometimes you can also okay, if you want to smoothen the edges, you can just collect them together like this. Of course, it's grouped. You collect them together like this. You can bitmap it again, convert to bitmap. When you convert to bitmap, you are adding it, you are converting it into a solid form that you cannot color. So when you convert it like this, normally I can do 300 or 600, but 300 is fine. So it's now solid. You can't color it. There's nothing you can do on it except maybe to trim it like this. So you see that those edges are trimmed and all of that, but that's not what we want to do. So I'll just unhide this. So this, so you can use this and do your design. So that's what I sometimes use the freehand to do. You can use it for different things, to draw shape, you know, to join things, link things, free, just like the name applies, freehand. You just use it any way you want. So 2-point scale is just to draw 2 lines. You hold the shift key or control key, okay? So you can use it to draw lines, straight lines, and then you can join them, you know. So Control 1, so you can join them, right? So that's what this one does. The Bezier tool is a tool we use for even cropping and tracing the corners of a particular object. It's a powerful tool used for different things that we can work on in the future. You want to use it to trace a particular object or element. Okay, so this one is artistic media and live sketch. So I hardly use this, but it's just something you can use as a sketch. You change it into, there are many of them that you can use, you know, depending on what you want to do. Some people that use this is for sketching and cartoon work, right? So some of the functions we have here are for different kind of graphics designers and whatever they are going to be using it for. So it's not all of them that we are interested in. So we know about the rectangle tool, we know about the ellipsis tool, we know about the polygon, star, spiral, common shapes. When you click this one now, you will see different kind of shapes. So if you come here, you will pick different, many of them for basic work that you want to do. Like people who do children's exercise book, these are the places they pick things like this, right? So we can do this and thicken it from here and all of that, and do what you want to do. So spiral, impact tool, graph paper. You want to draw a graph paper, these are the places to use for it. Text and table, just for writing text. So you just click and you start writing. So those are the things. So of course, I don't know if we have done anything on writing, but when you click the shift tool, right? Okay, let's just make this there's a text here, right? Change case. So if we do it fully, okay, let me change the font. I hope I'm not too fast. Okay, so this is our text, right? If you click on the shape tool, it gives you two of these this extra function that you can use to expand this or bring it to close, you know. So if you want the two words to separate on their own, to have more gap in the middle here, you just hold your shift key as you are dragging. You see it? So depending on what you want to use it for. So if we have two lines for this, something like this, I come here and I centralize, right? So if you go back to your shift key or shape tool, you have this option where you can either move it up or down, right? You can adjust that. This one also serves you that too, this other movement. So like if you see a church flyer that we do, let me look for something like this chapel flyer now. You see the presents is separated, right? That's what we do for things like that. You give it space, or you bring them too close. So that's how what that one does. Okay, so I don't know if I've ever used this parallel line. So it's for people who are using this to do mathematical things and all of that. Connector, I don't think I've ever used this. And then this is another place we also need to look at, the shadow tool. If I want to place a shadow on this writing now, you click on it, you drag it, and it will have a shadow, right? So outside shadow, you see that you can color shadows however you want. So, and then you can thicken it. So it's thicker now, sorry. You can make it light, so it's lighter now. Thicken it. So there are different directions. You can use this to move it. See, it's going up, it's going on the right. So you can bring it either down or up. So of course you can use your hand to do all of these things too, right? So that's basically what it does. Let me convert it to black. So another way to also, if you click Ctrl D, it duplicates this, right? If you want to remove the shadow, you come here and click clear shadow. So another way I also do this, if I want to make it real thick, is I double this by Ctrl C and Ctrl V. So it's two now. One is here, the other one is down, right? So I can make this. If I come to effects, you see this blurred. I'll say Gaussian blur. With Gaussian blur, you can blur the first text, right? So you now take the second one and put on it like this. So it gives it that let's put this here so you see it gives it that extra thickness that is thicker than the normal one we have here, right? So you can always adjust it, you can always play around it. So that's what shadow tool does. Contour is another thing we also do. And what is contour? Let me use this one. Contour tool gives you something like borders around a particular text. So if you click on it and you move it, you see it has given it borderline. So let me change the contour to this one so that I have something like this. You can change the color, of course. So you have seen this done in designs, especially label designs, right? So you can use this for that. Of course, there are different other movements you can do around it. This one is curved. This one is this one is curved. This one is sharp edges, and this one is kind of in between, right? All right, so we do this. There are other functions of different layers. So you have 2 layers, you have 3 layers, you have 4 layers. Let me color it white so that we're seeing the text. You have 5 layers, right? So normally it's 1 that we use, or highest 2, depending on what you are working on. So if you want to reduce it, like 0 here, it reduces it, or you use your hand to reduce that. So that's what contour tool does. The blend tool, I don't even know if I've ever used the blend tool. Okay, it gives you multiple layers of contours. Distort to, envelope to, extrude to, block tool. Let me talk about block tool, right? Let me remove contour from this. If you want to remove contour, you still come to contour, and maybe you touch it a bit, it shows this clear contour, and then you remove it, right? Okay, it's not contour, it's shadow that we wanted to remove. So it may not be showing clear shadow here, but if you touch it a little bit, it comes out and you clear the shadow. So what I want to do now is extrude block shadow. So this is what we use, block shadow. When you touch it and drag it, it gives you a particular kind of shadow, right? So you see people use this in either church flyers. You can see it gives it a 3D feel. So you can come here and color it so that it gives you what you want. Assuming we want to use something like this. Normally we don't do blue, and so you did something close to the red. So we can come here and do, sorry. Okay, and now we do red, something like this, right? So this is what this one does, and it's called the block shadow. So this tool is called transparency tool, and you're going to be using this a lot. So let me give you an idea of what the transparency tool does. Even if you color this now, you can use transparency on it. So you have a segment that is transparent, right? Directionally, you can use it here too. You move it, you have something that is transparent. We use this also for blending, when you want to blend 2 images together, right? So you can have this here, covers, you blend three things together. So that's what transparency does. We're going to go deeper into transparency because there are different kinds of transparency. This is elliptical, there are some that are directional, there are some that cover on the edges and all of that. So if you do this, you see how it comes out. If you do this, it does transparency on the edges, so this one is one-sided. So there are different. So here is clear transparency. You totally remove it. We also use here to copy transparency and apply it to another object. So if I copy this and apply it maybe to this object, okay, you can apply it to this kind of object, but you can, I think, apply it to this kind of object. No. Okay, so that's basically it. Then this is eyedropper. If you want to pick a particular color, you can pick it. Maybe there's something you are working on. What's this? There's something you are working on. Let me remove transparency on this one. Okay, there's something you're working on and you want to pick color from there so that it matches what you want to do. So you can come here and pick the color. You just click it and use it to apply on this. See, that's how we just apply, right? So that you are sure that it's the exact same color that you want, right? Of course, every color has a number. If you highlight it, it will show you the number. Arrow, red is 1, green is 88, and blue is 168. So all of those things are the numbers. So that's what eyedropper tool does. And this one is interactive fill tool. I don't know how much time we have done already, but interactive fill tool is something we'll have to do some other time. But it's basically what you do with you mix two colors, right? You mix two colors. So it's like gradients, where one color is thicker on one end and on the other end is like lighter, so that's what it does. But we'll handle that on some other time, because it has about 3 of them: mesh tool, smart fill tool, right? So that's basically it on this angle. These ones, I don't think there's so much we need to look at here. There are things we'll be looking at as we because these ones appear according to what you pick. So as we work on these things, we'll be looking at them. The perspective to talk about the shape tool. Some of these things that are not showing here is when you pick a particular object that it will show. Grouping and ordering and all of that. Insert, create, effects, adjust, sharpen. All of these things we are going to be talking about them in the future, right? Text, of course, we talked about text, changing case, table, how to insert table, tools, windows, help, purchase, and all of these other ones. So, but these are the major things we're going to be using. So you can replay this many times over to get a handle on them. Thanks so much.